Morning. I will be on at 8, but I considered it prudent to just come and share a few words with you for those persons who are going to be leaving out early for the exams. I just want to probably call the possibility or look at the possibility of some questions coming. I, I know many persons are not expecting to see me now. I am not expecting to see me now, but I think I need to assist some persons with their preparation up to 8 o'clock. So I am going to be having my live at 8. I have actually decided how I'm going to be unscrambling things to see how best I can assist you. You would have known that we did about 3 past papers already. I hope that you would have secured for yourself past papers of different type, and you would have filled out the answers as would have been appropriate last night or the night before, whichever it was. So there's a past paper that I'm looking at now, past paper May, June 2017. I think it has some really good questions. I would strongly suggest that if you can access a copy of a 2017 paper, we haven't worked the 2017 paper as yet. So you see, I've lost my voice. We haven't worked that as yet, but if you can access a copy of a 2017 paper, I think that there are some good questions there. Another thing is that when you go through these papers, try only to cover the questions that are on the exam. So, forgive me, I can't see well it is. All right, so I am also looking at the May, June 2020, and I think I like the questions here. I think I like the questions here, especially question number 2. It is a question worth looking at. Great. So I'm going to be here for 15 minutes only, and then I'm going to leave. So question number 4 of the 2020 May, June is also a nice question. So question number 2, question number 4 of the that's a nice question, and I'll be doing this paper sometime today. I'll go up until about 11:30, 12 there about with you. Question number 3 looks at excretion, and question number 5 looks at excretion, and I think that's a good thing as well. So question number 6 looks at pollution. So we're going to be looking at probably the question from 3 papers today. But like I said just now, I like the questions from May, June 2020. I like the questions from May, June 2020. So if you can get your friends to send that to you, that's a good paper. And I like the questions from 2017. I like those questions. We would have worked some nice questions already. And those are questions for you to pretty much look at. Let me just quickly look at what paper is this. This is a 2018 January paper. 2018 January. Let me see what's happening here. Bacteria, water purification. This is also nice 2018. So we have these 3 papers to look at today: 2017, 2018, and 2020. All right. So if you can access these papers, if you can call your friends or whomever and ask them to get you these papers, what you're going to do, you're going to be using your textbook to assist you with answering the questions that are pertinent to the exam. Only the questions that are pertinent to the exam. Those that are not going to be on the exam. Don't look at them. Just up over them for now. Just let me remind you of the questions that are expected, are the areas from which you will be questioned on the exam. You are going to be questioned on living organism and the environment, and that takes in a lot. but it is not a lot that will be assessed because it's only 6 questions. I primarily think that my opinion here is that you need to have a good look at the microbes. You actually know the structures and what each part does. Pretty much, you want to look at the virus, the bacteria, and of course, what's the other one? Virus, bacteria, and fungi. Now, remember that the fungi has hyphae. It actually feeds through the hyphae. It doesn't carry out photosynthesis. The bacteria has cell wall, and the virus is not a true organism. The virus only exists when it can exist, or is only active within an organism. It's very important that you understand the difference between the plant and animal cell. You are able to label those. That is really, really important. And you want to know specialized cells, more so those that are in the syllabus. Now, these would have been things that a lot of person would have already covered. So it's just to put a little icing on the cake. Now, of course, I don't work at CXC, so I can only guess, like you, what will be coming on the exam based on trajectory, or based, not trajectory, based on what we have seen in the past, right? I can't even find words, I'm so sorry. I'm going to just look at the syllabus very quickly and see if you could just deal with some stuff until 8 o'clock, some stuff that you need to get out of the way based on how you have been studying. And then we're going to be looking at the back of the syllabus. Now, if there's a diagram to come from section E, the diagram to come from section E more than likely will be the pit latrine. So you really want to look at the pit latrine. You want to look at garbage disposal. We did do that last night. And you want to look at, I think we looked at pollutant, but I think we can just shut that over very quickly. So you want to look at sewage disposal, as it were, with pit latrine, how the pit latrine should be constructed, the do's and don'ts for pit latrine. You really want to get to the back of your book to look at that. You also want to, well, the water purification method is really a long process. So if you can understand the activated sludge method and the aeration method, that would be nice. Know a little bit about landfill and how they operate. That is very, very good. A little pollution is on it. Air pollution is usually the big thing, but I think we can just deal with that very, very quickly when we join here at 8 o'clock. So what I want you to do for me, sewage, I want you to go and look at sewage, pit toilet, that type of a thing. I want you to look at water treatment. Just let me go to the back of the syllabus and see if I can help you here. Because remember, I said I wouldn't be able to touch that, but I'm going to be going over there to tell you exactly some of the things that you could just zero in on as you move closer to the exam. Then I'm going to come back to the front of the syllabus and see how best I can assist you there. So just let me up over D. And then I'm also going to be telling you some of the diseases that are associated with section E. Or in your reading, you'll find it, in your reading, but I will tell you. So I am at section E. It says, identify pollutants in the environment. Are you there with me? Is everybody all right? You all right? Yes, no? We're good? No need to worry, It will be much easier than you think. Trust me, it will be easier than you think. We're good? Oh, somebody wants to know the papers or the papers that I am recommending. Okay, I've said 2017, May, June 2017 has some nice question that would aid the study. January 2018, January 2018 has some nice questions, and May, June 2020 has some nice questions. We would have looked at 3 already, but we are going to wrap up something like that as we go along. Yes. All right. No, me no good. All right, fine. You'll be fine in a short while. So just let me just go through this very quickly with you. Section E. I didn't break down section E with most persons. So I'm going to just break down section E as to what are some of the things that we need to look at or probably zeroing on, or what I could just give you now very quickly. All right, so we're going to identify pollutants. You should have your pencil out. Once you join me, your pen and your pencil, you want to have your pen and pencil out that you can just jot down some things very quickly, because sometimes there are things that I should see that we can just deal with right away and move along. So you really want to have something to jot down. So I'm going to go very quickly and just tell you some things very quickly, other persons are hearing. I'm not going to be here long, so you can really replay this video to get back some of the things that I'm going to be saying. So let me just go very quickly. So you're supposed to identify pollutant in the environment. Now, if you're going to identify pollutant in the environment, please be reminded of the definition for pollution. Pollution is the introduction of contaminant to the environment. A pollutant refers to the contaminant that would have been introduced to the environment. So it's a defined pollution and pollutant, including domestic. All right, so domestic pollutant are your scandal bags, your bags that you would have purchased at the shop, waste from the kitchen. Some are biodegradable, some are non-biodegradable. And then we talk about industrial pollutant. We talk about waste from the smokestack, from the factories. We talk about the water that they release, the wastewater that they release, bags and pan. Just remember, the major pollutants are, and if you watch my video and recycle all of that you'll see, the major pollutants are glass, plastic, fabric, and metal. Glass, plastic, fabric, and metal. Those are the four major non-biodegradable pollutant. Then we have agriculture pollutant, and agriculture pollutant would include all of those waste like the bottles and so on, the remains. Some are going to be biodegradable, some are going to be non-biodegradable. To find these things, you can just up onto Google and get them. Now, discuss the cause of air pollution. Now, air pollution is caused by a whole lot of things. A volcano, things decaying, particulates suspended in the air, a whole lot of things. You just want to air pollution is very, very small. You want to look at that very quickly. Now, describe the effect of pollutants on a human being and the environment. So you look at human being and the environment, and it's an analysis and interpretation is needed here. So it might ask you to look at a graph in the exam to identify what is happening. Remember, when you're reading a graph, you're reading from the x-axis and comparing it to the y-axis. They never normally ask you to draw a graph. You'll just be asked to interpret a graph, right? So this one says here, analysis is important. So that means that you will get a graph or a table to get the data from. Now, explain the method of controlling pollution. Now, we've said this in some class. There are many methods of controlling pollution. We could, of course, use a carrot stick approach where we give an incentive to those persons who don't pollute. We could sanction those persons who pollute. We could recycle, we could reduce, we could reuse, we could go to renewable energy. That's a good way. We could burn less fossil fuel. If we burn less fossil fuel, we'll have less air pollutant. All right, so those are some things. You can go back to the video when I'm finished to see. It said describe the water cycle. I haven't seen this on the exam for some time, but it's very easy. I have videos on my channel, but the water cycle is pretty much powered by the sun. Water cycle would include the groundwater that we have, whether it be a pond, river, lake, stream, and then this water is going to evaporate into the atmosphere, and it will, of course, condense to form cloud, and then it return to the earth as precipitation in many type of form, rain, snow, sleet, that type of thing. But there's also transpiration from plants that is also sending water up to the sky. Now, while we expire, right? When we breathe out, we're also breathing out water. That is also adding water to the water cycle. So we have transpiration where water is coming from the plant, respiration where water is coming from animal, evaporation where water is coming from the settled area, and then it goes into the sky, condense, then it precipitates and fall back as rain. The water cycle is as simple as that. All right. The other thing I want to look at here is to describe simple ways of water purification. Now, remember your water purification. Did I say this? Diagram, it's a diagram required, including evap. Oh, so I didn't say that they gave this. For water cycle, they are saying that diagram is required. Not that you are going to draw the diagram, but you have to be able to identify the parts of the diagram, including evaporation. So evaporation is going to come from the water that is settled around the place, or the water that is on the leaf itself. That is, of course, evaporation. Condensation is where the cloud is in the sky. Transpiration, the water is coming from the plant, right? Respiration, the water is coming from an animal, you or me. And then we have filtration. Filtration is more like the water seeping into the soil and into the aquifers and so on. That is sort of filtration. All right. Then we're talking about simple method of water purification. You really want to know this. This is so easy. To purify water at home, you're going to boil your water. You're going to add a little chlorine to the water in the form of bleach or chlorine tablet. So you have boiling water, you have adding a little bleach or bleach tablet to the water. Then in some case, what you could filter the water as well, filter the water through a sand bed, and you could put like charcoal in the water to remove the color of the water. So if the water is brown, you put your regular black charcoal in the water and it will absorb those particulates, cleaning up the water. Now, like if you are from Cayman, then you are going to understand that for Cayman, they are going to do desalination. Outside of desalination, Cayman, who is using the salt water, they could boil the water and pretty much collect, use two container where one is collecting the condensate, the water that is condensated or become condensate on the pot and drip back into a container there. Now that is how you're going to do the purify seawater. All right, so it's either you're going to use a commercial plant desalinator or you're going to boil and collect the condensed steam. Then we are looking at test for water for bacteria with the algal plate. Now, usually it is showing you, I don't know if they do this in paper too, I can't remember seeing that, but usually they show you some petri dish, and with the petri dish, you are going to observe that some will have more white and some have less dark. Usually the one with more white is showing the abundance or the proliferation of bacteria. That is in your book. I don't even know if I want to send it to look at that because it might be too much. Now, describe the process involved in large-scale water purification. Now, large-scale water purification has 4 steps. All right. You have the screening, where you have the filtering taking place. You have sedimentation, filtration, and chlorination. If you can find a short video on YouTube, now short video that deals with commercial water purification, and it give you all 4 steps. It is easier than me walking you through it. You'll remember what you see. Discuss the impact of human activity and water supply. The impact of human water activity and water supply. You are looking at how you dispose your sewage. Some persons dispose raw sewage in water, and then you have to look at the diseases that are associated with that, like cholera and so on. Some person dispose of the sewage on land. Then you have the farmer might be using too much fertilizer, so you end up here with eutrophication or aging of the water, that sort of a thing. You look at leachates that's pretty much coming from landfill, and this is of course entering your water body by some way, shape, or form. Discuss the impact. Oh, we just did that. Explain why contaminated water is detrimental to human being. So this is where the disease part is going to come in with it's a link to specific objective D7. So specific objective D7, you are now going to go back into your syllabus into section D, right? And you are going to look for bullet seven. So it's bullet 7 that the syllabus wants you to look back, as it were, with linking disease. You're not supposed to study all a D based on what the broad topics are saying. But when you have to study now D7, that bulleted point out a disease 7, you want to make sure that you do that because the syllabus is saying that. Now, distinguish between proper and improper sewage disposal. Now, like I said, get a little read on sewage disposal, pit latching, that type of a thing, and the construct and where it should be constructed and so on. Now, explain the impact of improper sewage disposal practice. Now, that is going to now bring you into all of those little disease stuff that are associated with that. Now, compare the treatment of sewage by biological. I spoke about that biological filter method and the activated sludge method. Most time, this type of thing is on the multiple choice, but I don't know what will happen here. Relate the parts of a pit latrine to their function. So you need to know the parts of a pit latrine and the function of each part. Now, explain why the site of a pit latrine is important. So sandy soil, variety of water source. So vicinity of water source, you want to look at that, the do's and don'ts around pit latrine. You really want to look at pit latrine, the do's and don'ts. Assess the use of pit latrine in the Caribbean. Advantages, disadvantages of pit latrine. You want to look at that. Is it worth it? And then you're going to evaluate the efficiency of a method of domestic refusal disposal. So you're going to analyze what is happening with garbage disposal and how we could treat with that. We would have done some of that last night. Describe the operation of a landfill. What really happens at a landfill? What are the processes that take place at a landfill? So just up and run to the back of your book and get that done. Discuss the importance of landfill in the Caribbean. Of course, that is like common sense. Evaluate the impact of solid waste on the environment. Analyze measures used to control solid waste volume. All right, so you want in this now you're going to look at reduce, recycle, reuse, that type of a thing. That is exactly what it says here. Distinguish between the term biodegradable and non-degradable. Last night I realized that everybody would have known that. And then you are supposed to be able to use charts and all of those fancy. And then that would have taken us to pretty much the end of what you're expected to know for the section E. So I don't want you to panic. I don't want you to panic. If you want, I could leave this thing here that you can all link up here and share the content, but that is going to be a problem because where there's no supervision, things are going to be all over the place. So if you can meet in your meta group, that would be nice. I'm going to be engaged doing something else, so I'll join you back at 8. Now, as it were, for the first part of the syllabus, I said that I would have gone through that with you. All right, so we were talking about cells and what you should know for cells. We would have done osmosis and diffusion last night. So most person would have been comfortable with that based on what I saw. We did go through that at length. I gave you videos and all of that. And that photosynthesis, the word of the equation, and I remember that photosynthesis has 3 parts. You have the raw material, the condition, and of course the product. All right, so we would have covered most of the stuff on this. And when we meet today, we will go through some more. But I'll just walk you through it very quickly. You want to read anything here? I'll just walk you through it. So your emphasis now. Just let me go to the syllabus and look at D7 that they said that we should look at, and let me see what is there. Just give me 1 second. After D7, I think you can go. So your emphasis now will be on the back of the text, the part that your teacher did not touch. And I told you, I gave you good examples. I am going to be doing a little heredity with you when you come back. We need to talk about sickle cell. If I don't talk about it, let me talk about it. Sickle cell and albinism, we definitely have to talk about that. All right. So I am at D7. Now this is very, very important. I am at D7. And I'm going to tell you what D7 says, as it were. Let me, in a matter of fact, I'm going to try to paste it in the chat. What D7 say about the disease that you need to know. There I would have pasted. All right. So when the syllabus said here, it says the broad topics from CXC. It says impact of health practice on the environment linked to infectious disease. Right. And then when we went to section E of the syllabus, section E sent us back to D7. And when we went to D7, that is what we got. So just let me go back to the syllabus. The syllabus is saying discuss the causative agent, signs, symptom, prevention, control of infectious disease. It says, and that's the same thing, the thing here says infectious disease. It says acute respiratory infection. That has to do with air pollutants. So you need to look at influenza, that is, we'll look a little bit at that last night, bronchitis, pneumonia, sexually transmitted infection, such as gonorrhea, herpes, syphilis, ringworm, typhoid, tuberculosis, cholera, gastroenteritis. So I would have given you the diseases based on what is on the broad topic and based on what is on the syllabus that is associated with section E. Remember that I don't work at CXC, so what I try to do is just to understand and decode these things for you that you can get it. So the syllabus did not say that we are going to do section D. They say we are going to do section C and section E. However, these things that I send you, these topics that I send you, they are a part of section D of the syllabus. To be specific, section D7. So D7, these are the diseases that you are supposed to know for the exam. All right? These are the diseases. I observe that I don't see AIDS there, but I would add AIDS and HIV if I were you. All right? That's what I'd add if I were you. So what we're going to have to do now, I'm going to do some genetic diagrams with you when I come back. So you need to have pen and paper. I hope, just before you leave, just let me just give you my genetic playlist again for those persons who would not have seen it. And then I'm going to go. I'm really going to go this time. I'm over my 15 minutes by far. I will do that when I rejoin. But I gave you some topics just now that you really want to look at. Those topics are around section E of the syllabus. You really want to look at that because the topics from section D, question 4, 5, and 6 is going to be between reproduction, heredity and variation, and impacts on the environment. We know that is what they are going to be. All right. We have actually seen some genetic diagram on the paper. I think on the 2020 paper, we are seeing some genetic diagram, but I'm going to be solving those today, so not a bother. I think I saw it somewhere. All right. So wherever it says analysis, you are going to get something like a graph like that, some type. Once it says analysis, it's going to come as that. So we have a genetic here, genetic question here to look at that. All right. So I'm trying to get a video for you, for those persons who don't know how to access my playlist. Let me just come here, give you that video, and then you are free to go. All right, so it's coming up slow. So I would have given you the diseases that should be on the exam. If there are diseases, these are the diseases based on the syllabus. D7, those are the diseases from D7. So yes, we are calling it out now. I'm going to spam you with these. Please send them to your friend, put them on your status, that these are the possible diseases. Add HIV and AIDS to it. It's not there, but I think you should add it. There is a possibility. Remember, I don't work with CXC, so I am just